welcome back to the program. You're watching Morning Thailand with Bo and Golf. Now, moving on to another case that I promise you that we'll update you a little bit more. It seems like the situation in Pattaya, the accident involving the ferry, which has created quite a bit of a stir in terms of tourism department in particular, because it seems like it create a lot of lack of confidence for a lot of tourists to actually visit the area, because there has been a death report, 6 of them altogether. 3 of them were actually foreign tourists. And this obviously has been treated by the government, in particularly the Prime Minister, who went to Pattaya yesterday to just look into this case. She actually visited Pattaya yesterday to almost like on a fact-finding mission to look into the bottom of it. Along with her is the various ministers, including คุณยุคน ลิ้มแหลมทอง the Deputy Prime Minister, คุณจารุพงษ์ เรืองสุวรรณ the Interior Minister, คุณชาติชาติ สิทธิพันธ์ of course, the Transport Minister, and all of them, along with, met with คุณสนธยา คุณปลื้ม who is the Culture Minister, along, and คุณอิทธิพล คุณปลื้ม who's actually the Pattaya provincial, Pattaya governor, who was also there to greet them. Now, in this particular case, as you can see, the Prime Minister has putting quite a bit of effort into this particular case, because she wants to make sure that the incident does not repeat itself. She also visited various victims as well who's still in the hospital. And this particular incident, just to give you a recap of it, took place on the 3rd of November. And they say that technically the ferry was supposed to carry only 150, but there were more than 200 people on the ferry at the time, so it's over its capacity, plus not enough life vests to go around, so not all of the passengers actually have the life vest on as well, and that's create quite a bit of disturbing, and obviously destruction was quite bad. And they say that as for this, what come out of it is that Pattaya will actually have to look into this. The fact-finding will make sure that more stricter regulations will be taking place, especially trying to reduce all the water-related accident. They say that for this year, well, toward the end of the year already, but this year alone has seen a lot more numbers of water-related accidents that took place in Pattaya. They say that they will change the way that to limit the capacity itself. They will try to make sure that all the companies, the ferries company, have to sell the ticket with seated, a sign seated. That means that if there's more than 150 people and there's not enough seat for them, they cannot get on the ferry. So that means you cannot stand, even though there's a space for you. If it can only carry 150, that's all you're gonna get to be on. Which is supposed to be like that anyway.
It's supposed to be like that
exactly.
For safety reasons.
Which, we have been way too lenient, and the damage is just too great. They say that also at this point there is, according to Kun Chachat, the Transport Minister, who was also there at the time and is still there in Pattaya, he said that there were 4 types of the transportation to Koh Lan altogether. They say that one is speedboat, which about 600 of speedboats available at this time that has been registered, and jet ski, which technically that's going to be a long ride. For an hour jet ski, I don't think that's possible. But anyway, there has about 500 of jet skis available. There's also one of those transport ferries, 2 types, the one that always drop in certain places, so the public ones and the private ones, and there are quite a bit of them altogether, over 20 of the boats that are available for this. So they say that at this point, the authorities will put more staff that will look into these regulations and make sure that everyone follow it accordingly. And they say that at this point for the driver itself, which I think the most important, the key person to this particular case, because he was actually high at the time. That's the report said that he confessed that he was high at the time that he was driving the boat, the ferry. So that's caused quite a bit of damage. They say that they will have to make sure that all the driver have the license, and all the people that would apply to become a driver and get these licenses have to have a background check. They have to not be a drug addict, obviously, and alcohol check has to be done regularly, and it needs to be more than 18 years old. Which is really disturbing when you hear this, because obviously you pretty much like a pilot, right? Of a plane, and you would think that, well, if you're less than 18, maybe you should not be able to drive at all. But
maybe not experienced enough.
Exactly, but I guess there must have been a lot of drivers who are less than 18 years old. That's why they have to have these particular regulations in place. So at this point, it seems like it becomes a top priority for the Prime Minister, because don't forget, Pattaya is one of the most, generating the most income for the country as well. When around the area, especially for Chonburi province. So at this point, rest assured, it seems like the authority will definitely do something about this particular case.
Okay, let's hope so. Fingers crossed that no more incidents like this will actually have to be reported again.
Right.
Well, still speaking about things that are going on in the water, and also about water in particular, let's take a look at the meteorological department a little bit, how they have come out to announce some of the warnings. And this is due to the fact that there could be some storms that could be a couple, they say around 2 of the storms that could be hitting.
2 is a lot.
Yeah, that's right. 1 is more than enough, right? But this time they mentioned that there could be 2. And in this time, they say that during November the 7th to the 9th, they say that small boats are suggested not to leave the coast because of the high waves, of course, and some heavy rainfall that could occur too. And they also mentioned about that storm. It's the Hiyan storm. And they say that despite the fact that it's kind of far away from Thailand, and at the moment it could be going into the Tankia Bay, it could still turn into a typhoon once it hits the coast of Vietnam, and that will be on November the 8th and the 9th. Now, once all of that happens, the effects that it could be sending to Thailand would be at 4 particular provinces, and that includes Mukdahan, Nakhon Phanom, Amnacharaon, and also Ubon Ratchathani. Now, apart from that, we hear from the meteorological department here, Kun Chaichan Suthi Waranan, who has come out to mention about this announcement or this warning, saying that the depression or the storm here that's in the South China Sea will actually be in the area of the South China Sea, which is away from Ho Chi Minh City, 950 kilometers away from Ho Chi Minh City. That's quite far, but still, it's very much possible that it could develop into a tropical storm, which could be hitting the coast at around the 7th of November, like I said, causing heavy rainfall in Ho Chi Minh City. And as for Thailand, on November the 8th, that's when some of the effects, we will be seeing the heavy rainfall in the east and also the south of the central region, where heavy rainfall could be expected in the Prachuap Khiri Khan province as well as Chumphon provinces. So just being aware of the weather. And of course, as usual, the meteorological department would definitely be asking all of the fish trawlers and also fishery boats, of course, to
refrain from going at sea, right?
Yes, and not to leave the coast, and to listen to the local radio reports every single day for the updates about the weather condition.
Oh, that's so bad, because we have seen the stop of the rain in Bangkok, but it seems like in the provinces they still have to brace for more rain. So hopefully no more flood for them.
Yes.
Because obviously it's not a really easy condition to live with. Now, talking about man-made I guess, disaster that could have happened, not yet, but people are preparing for it, is the situation around Sisagate province. Of course, it's the border area with Cambodia. And we know that in particular in the Kantarak district, as the ICJ's ruling is approaching on the Preah Vihear temple area, disputing area, on the November the 11th. At this point, there has been quite a bit of a preparedness. And it's quite sad because apparently, according to the report, a lot of the school children, all the students as well as teachers, they are cleaning the bunkers right now that you used to hide from bombs. And I think it's such a sad news to read about, because to live in that situation, and they have to do this every day, mind you, but it is for a safety reason. But imagine this, these are little kids who have to be trained after school every day in terms of trying to make sure that they know where to hide if, God forbid, anything happened, if the conflict or the clash ever took place. Now they say that at this point, the Preah Vihear school is well prepared because they are trying their best to do it. But hopefully we don't have to get to that point of violence once again. But they say that the authorities has already went into the area, especially the Foreign Affairs Ministry Deputy Permanent Secretary Kun Nathawut Pothisaro, who went into the area itself in the Preah Vihear school to give people, the residents, a little bit more information and understanding of this particular case, pretty much to brace for what will come afterward. They say that at this point, the goal for this particular meeting or the forum is to make sure that they create a little bit more confidence for the residents in the area in case there are any conflict that might have happened or the clash that might took place prior to the ICJ's ruling. However, at this point, both countries are trying their best to make sure that that would not happen. And they say that according to the news report and according to Kun Nathawut himself, he said that, and I quote, "I personally believe that the ICJ won't rule that way," and quote unquote. Of course, this means that he hopes that the ICJ would not award the disputed area of 4.6 square meters to Cambodia. At this point, I think that there are a lot more information that you can actually look for in terms of what the verdict might be or what direction. But in terms of the other people, especially the residents in the area, they are quite concerned because they want to make sure that the same incident that took place before, where there are a lot of fires pretty much flying around in the border, would not happen again. And at this point, we're going to have to wait and see. But we haven't seen any report of the violence yet or any threat. So be prepared is good, but let's hope for the best.
Okay. And speaking about hoping for things of the best, I guess at the moment, of course, the protest that's going on in the country that's against the amnesty bill is stepping up a lot. And I think yesterday there were lots of movements, by several groups as well that we saw. And to mention first here, by the way, yesterday we also saw that there was a speech by the Prime Minister.
Yes,
right?
And I will mention a little bit about that as well.
That's right. And due to the fact that the speech came out, there was a response to that was seen by the demonstrations of the Democrat Party or the Samsen demonstration. And they also made their way through several routes as well until eventually they reached the Democracy Monument at the Ratchadamnern Avenue. And just to mention, they left the Samsen area and they took the Kampang Phet 5 Seth City and also passing the local people, and some of whom also welcomed and cheered them, by blowing. We see at the moment they have their kind of a sign of the whistle blowing. That's right, and several flags as well. Apart from that, they then passed the Urupong intersection, Petbury Road, Yommarat intersection, and also Lan Luang Road, and then eventually reaching the Democracy Monument at the Ratchadamnern Avenue. And it's been said that that's basically the area where they will be occupying from now on until they get the justice that they are waiting for. And apart from that, I've mentioned about, as you can see, Kun Suthep Theeksuban right there, he was responding to some of the speeches that was given by the Prime Minister. And he said that we are still going to be here at Ratchadamnern Avenue. And Apart from that, just to mention, there's also the movement coming from the People's Army against the Thaksin regime at Urupong, right? And they also moved to the Phan Pha area or the Phan Pha bridge as well. They're occupying there. Meanwhile, just to mention about yesterday of the Ratchadamnon area, the atmosphere in the morning, they didn't see a lot of people yet, but people started to come up a little bit more and crowded during the afternoon, where they say that noon was basically the time that they say that there would be some speeches being said on the stages, and apart from that, the protesters also decided to set up some barricades at the Democracy Monument, and that basically left one of the lanes or the roads in the area to be blocked by these barricades. Meanwhile, as for the school in the area that would be affected, of course, that's the Preah Vihear school. And according to the school itself, they came out to say that they were approached by the leaders of the demonstration group, in which they came out to ask the school if there's anything that the group could actually help with, any convenience or assist with, in which the school said that, what you can help us is if it's possible for you not to use your loudspeakers during the class hours, because the school decided not to close their school, you see, and they hope that, the classes could go on as usual. So that's what they asked the demonstrators or the core leaders that came to contact them. And they agreed. They said, okay, they're not going to use their loudspeakers during those particular hours. Apart from that, let's take a look at some of the reports coming from the Peacekeeping Operations Center. While the spokesman himself, Police Major General Preah Vihear, he came out to say that approximately at the Democracy Monument, talking about the number of protesters there, it should be up to around 12,000 people. While those that are gathering at Silom area, it could be at 6,000. And he said that most of people who are gathering at these protests are Bangkokians. And they're around the average age of 40 years and above. 60% would be women, 40% would be male. While at the Silom area during the afternoon or during lunchtime, they would, have their activities every Mondays and Wednesdays, and also those at Urupong intersection. He said that there are around 800 people at that time that he was, doing the report there. While he said that the group of the Urupong at the Urupong intersection say that they will make some changes to their plans or movements on November the 7th. Apart from that, taking a look at the situation around 3 in the afternoon at the Democracy Monument. At that time, yesterday, there was around 1,000 people that were reported. But I think the reports coming from the police himself, he was speculating that, until the nighttime, it could be going up to 10,000 or 12,000 there. And like I said, the movement of the Urupong rally of the People's Army against the Thaksin regime, they moved to the Phan Pha area at around 10:30. And, they also had their stage, and their speakers, came up to, of course, criticize about the amnesty and etc. And also, I think they also replayed the speech that was given by the Prime Minister as well. But
of course, there's a lot. As you can see there, there's a demonstration by the Chulalongkorn students as well, and the alumni. And it's quite big because, don't forget, it's around the Ratchaprasong area, because they are moving from Chulalongkorn itself. This is around the area along the Ramawan Road and such. And they walked all the way to the BACC, once again, the Bangkok Art and Culture Center. It seems like it's become the meeting point of a lot of people. So around the MBK Mall and such, they were actually gathered starting from about 4 p.m. in the afternoon and marching all the way to the BACC on the Patumwan intersection. They say that this is one of the biggest, and of course, 5,000 people altogether. And if you're around the area at the time, you will see this is not the only university that came out in the Bang Mot Techno excuse me here พระจอมเกล้าธนบุรี University or of the Bang Mot branch actually gathered 500 of their staff, students, or alumni as well. But this is one of the biggest for the Chulalongkorn University alumni and students and staff, 5,000 altogether. And they say that in the Naresuan University, they are talking about doing something or opposing the amnesty bill as well as the Sri Nakarintara Virod University as well as Kasetsat University. But all in all, Kun Bo Mahidol University of Salaya branch, they will gather today at, this morning at 8:30, they said. Not sure yet how many people will be there. And Thammasat University will gather tomorrow at 9 a.m. So if you're going to be in the area, watch out for it. It seems like you have to wait to say that a lot of people are opposing this.
Yes.
A lot of academics, a lot of the citizens and such. And just before we go to a break here, one last thing, they say that there's also a report that on the 5th of November, so yesterday in Australia, in Sydney in particular, 500 of the Thai citizens were gathered, over 500 they say, gathered to actually march to the Thai embassy in Sydney. And they say that these people came from Queensland as well as Victoria as well to go to Sydney and join the people to oppose this particular bill, the amnesty bill. They gathered at Martin Place in Sydney and then walked all the way to Hudson House, which is the Thai embassy. They gave the letter opposing the amnesty bill to Kun Kesani Palanuwong of the embassy, and afterward they sang national anthem and went back, dispersed. But they say that on the 8th at about 2 p.m. they will gather again in Sydney. So at this point it seems like amnesty bill is not a big favorite of a lot of people.
Yes.
So we're going to have to wait and see. Now let's go for a short break because I will give you a little bit more update about the speech that the Prime Minister gave yesterday. And of course, Kun Palada will talk about the senators and their viewpoints about the amnesty bill. So please stay tuned.